Have you ever been like this before? Have you ever feel disconnected from the world? Imagine you walk into the hospital and you're really scared. You need help. You need to report your medical condition to the doctor, but nobody cares. Not because they don't want to understand, but because they cannot understand a single word. Not because you speak another language, but because your language is sign language. And just a moment ago, when I was walking to the stage with my mouth taped, and I have a feelings, a very weird feelings, the feelings of helplessness. And this feeling is not just happen to a few individual. It's happened to over 70 million people in the world. That's a whole community that's yearn to be heard. Today, I bring with me a quote that is one of my favorite quotes. And every time I read it, I just question myself, is communication that important? Because for most of people right here, communication is just a daily things that people do every day, not any privilege. But that's how the normal people thinks. But what would the people with hearings and speech disability thinks about? Let me tell you a story. When I was really young, I was living in the countryside for a few years with my family and relative. And in front of our house, there were a very big yard. And my friend and I always play football there. But in somewhere in the corner of the house, my cousin always sat there alone and looking out to the yard with the sad eyes. Not because he couldn't play football, it's because he couldn't tell anyone that he wanted to play. And once I went up on him, I asked him, "Do you want to play football with me?" And for the first time ever, he's standing up and pointing at a ball, like he really want to say something to me, but he couldn't. And that conversation stayed with me forever until I was studying computer science about AI in the university. I have wondered, what if AI can be the interpreter between the two worlds that have never fully understand each other? And that way I take the inspiration and start let your hand speak. So I think is it in this generation, everybody here is already familiar with AI, like chatting with ChatGPT or Gemini. And I'm no different too. Just a moment ago, I was sitting there and chatting with my Gemini, how to overcome my anxiety on stage. And it's giving me quite a list. And I think it helped me a bit, but I'm still look not really good on the stage. But you know what? AI can do even more than that. AI can bring people together. And how can it do it? So it's been coming through 3 steps. The first step is observing. The second one, understanding. And the final step is to unlocking the silence. So how can it really observing and understanding? So as normal people like us, we will see the sign language like a movement, a lot of movement. But AI is different. It see the pattern, the thousand of tiny relationship between the fingers, the arm, the hands, and the face. And the challenge was to teach the AI to recognize the pattern reliably. So how to completely unlocking the silence? I call it AI speak with a human soul. All you need to do is to place a camera in front of you and let the AI do the job. It's pretty cool, right? And at this point, I think AI have become a companion to every deaf people in the world. So what makes it different? Today, our system can recognize many Vietnamese sign language word, but it isn't perfect yet. But for the first time, we can see a future where a deaf student and a hearing teacher can communicate easily through AI, can share their emotion easily. But is it have any challenge? The answer is definitely yes. The obstacle no longer lie in the language itself, but for the regional differences. It's created difficult in recognize auto pardon, auto Vietnamese language word. And the real challenge was to create a tool for the chaos of life that deaf people can use that every day. And it's a long way to go to complete our project. And when I first started the project, one of my friends tell me that this cannot possible, just a waste of time. But I thought that what if we scale this? The deaf people will have a chance to have full education, to easily report their medical condition to the doctor and communicate on daily basis. Isn't it a world full of dream and prospect for the deaf community? And that what keep me going on this project. So at first, I will believe that I will teaching AI to recognize Vietnamese Sign Language. But along the ways, I realized something. The real challenge was not teaching the machine to understand people. The real challenge was to teach the society to understand people. And AI is simply just one bridge. And every bridge brings us closer to the harmonious world. And you can imagine a world that isn't left everyone out of the conversation because of just how they communicate. A world where technology doesn't just process the information, but to brings the people closer together, breaking down the invisible world of the two worlds. Thank you, and join me to make the world better.